Ryan Poles and the Bears have a really important week ahead of them this upcoming week with many different decisions they may have to make. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video, which I'll be doing anytime the Chicago Bears news going on this offseason. And this video is not per se a news update, but it is a little bit of a primer for things to expect in this upcoming week because many different things are happening around the NFL world this upcoming week, and I kind of want to prepare you guys for what to expect. So let's get into it. And the first story I do want to talk about is that the Bears potentially could be deciding on either keeping or trading Justin Fields this upcoming week during the NFL Combine. So according to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, he said that I'd expect whatever the plan is, the execution really starts going next week. I think the bones of it, a trade, could be there next week. The bones of a trade could be in place next week. And in that quote, it kind of leaves it open-ended if it's going to be a trade of the number one pick or a trade of Justin Fields. But everybody across the NFL does seem to believe at this point in time it is going to be a trade of Justin Fields. Everybody from Adam Schefter to Ian Rappaport to Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune. Virtually everybody I've seen has predicted that the Bears are going to be trading Justin Fields. Now, that does not mean it's 100% guaranteed to happen because these insiders sometimes are wrong. So, anything still could happen, but it does seem pretty likely that Fields is going to get traded. And if that's the case, I think we could be coming up on a decision of that happening very, very soon, as Albert Breer is suggesting, because at the NFL Combine, everybody is there from GMs to scouts to coaches to front office personnel. Everybody around the NFL is there scouting all the players coming into the NFL draft, right? And that's definitely not the only thing that happens there. When a lot of people are there in one place, discussions tend to happen in bars, in hotel rooms, and that's actually where Ryan Poles basically traded the number one overall pick last year when Scott Fitterer came into his hotel room and they discussed potentially doing a deal for the number one pick. The terms of that trade were agreed to in Ryan Poles' hotel room at the NFL Combine. Okay, this is where a lot of discussions happen between NFL front office personnel and even discussions of quarterback trades, potential free agent signings. Those discussions happen at the Combine, even though especially with free agent signings, that's not supposed to happen at the Combine. That's not allowed by the NFL, but these things still do happen because a lot of tampering always takes place every year. And when so many people are together in one area in Indianapolis, discussions do tend to happen. Now, you can discuss, trades. That is allowed by the NFL. So if Ryan Poles does want to trade Justin Fields, he definitely will be talking to other GMs, other front office people, and seeing what the value of Justin Fields is on the trade market. And I think that he already kind of knows what the value of Fields is going to be on the trade market, because even though they have not been per se shopping Fields on the open market, like saying they want to trade Fields, they have gotten trade calls on Fields from other teams. And I do think they kind of know what they're going to get, whether that be a late first round pick or a second round pick or a third round pick or some combination of mid-rounders and an early rounder. I think Ryan Poles kind of knows what that deal is going to look like, what the terms of that deal are going to look like, and they could be agreed to at the NFL Combine, like he agreed to the terms of trading the number one overall pick last offseason. And it's best for everybody at this point to get a deal done as soon as possible, because I'm sick of hearing about this debate every single day in the city, okay? Every single day on sports talk radio, if you talk on Twitter with other fans, if you talk with fans in real life, everybody has been beating this topic to death since early September of last year, honestly, and I feel so bad for Justin Fields. Justin Fields does not deserve this level of toxicity coming his way every single day, okay? I really wish we could make it work here in Chicago, but if they are going to trade him, I do hope they do it fast so he can get settled in his new city. And it's best for the Bears if that happens too, because we don't want to drag this out too long, okay? When quarterbacks start signing with other teams, when Kirk Cousins goes to potentially a new team, when other veteran quarterbacks get signed, the value of Fields could be a little bit lower if if other teams already have their quarterback, right? So it's better to do this before free agency begins, before the new league year begins, so you can get the most value out of Fields potentially. And again, I really hate it's come to this point, but I do personally believe that the Bears are going to trade Fields, and if that does happen, I hope it happens soon, because I'm sick of hearing about this topic every single day. Now, talking about the next potential thing that could be happening is a franchise tag on Jalen Johnson, okay? The franchise tag period is open currently, and it's going to be open until March 5th, okay? If the Bears do want to franchise tag Jalen Johnson, they have to do it on or before March 5th. And at this point in time, we really don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to extend Jalen Johnson, or they're going to franchise tag him? And they could do both, right? They could franchise tag Jalen Johnson first, and that gives them more time to potentially come to terms on a long-term extension. They could do that long-term extension maybe in the summer, and both sides could be very happy with that, but they cannot let him walk for free, and they're not going to let him walk for free because Ryan Poles is not that dumb where a player as talented as Jalen Johnson, he's going to let just walk away to a different team without getting something in return for him. At the very least, franchise tag him, and if he really does not want to be here, trade him for a pretty high pick, potentially, early second round, late first round pick is what you could be getting for Jalen Johnson. But Jalen Johnson has said that he's okay with playing on the franchise tag, so I don't think it's going to come to that point where he's going to be demanding a trade. He is happy with receiving $19 million for this upcoming season because that is a lot of money, and the Bears still could extend him. That's the best scenario if the Bears do extend him, and I'm not sure how much money he wants, if he wants to be the highest paid corner in football or if he wants to be close to the highest paid corner in football. We really don't know at this point in time, but I do think it's pretty likely the Bears will be franchise tagging Jalen Johnson. So look for that to happen potentially next week or early the following week. And lastly, the other event happening this upcoming week, which I already mentioned, is the NFL Combine, which is going to be a very important event for the Bears for obvious reasons. We have the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and if we are going to be using that pick on a quarterback, we have to be sure we're selecting the right quarterback this time around. We have another pick in round 1, pick number 9, which could be going to receiver potentially, maybe defensive lineman, right? So we're going to have to be looking at a lot of positions, scouting those positions, because we have a lot of picks early in this draft. We don't have a second round pick right now, but I do think if we trade Fields, at the very least, we are going to be getting a second round pick. So, we're going to have a second round pick potentially. We already have a third round pick. We have multiple fourth round picks. We have a fifth round pick. So it's going to be very important for Ryan Poles to nail this draft. And historically, Ryan Poles has only drafted players that have tested pretty well at the Combine. Obviously, Combine results are not the only thing that matters. The tape does matter a lot too, as it should, but Ryan Poles, in his opening press conference, he said that he wants to draft fast, physical, strong, athletic football players, and he has lived up to that promise. So far in the last 2 years, he's really only drafted players with a very high relative athletic score, which, by the way, RAS, relative athletic score, is a composite grade that is assigned to players based on their testing and putting them on a scale historically with other prospects that have tested at the Combine, seeing how good of an athlete they truly are in comparison to other previous NFL athletes. And so far, the Bears have really only drafted players with a very high RAS. The only exception was Treston Ebner, and that was, a late round pick, right? So, clearly testing does matter to Ryan Poles. It's not the only thing that matters, but they do believe that they can develop the best athletes coming out of college football. And if that's going to continue to be the case, as a Bears fan, you have to be paying attention to the NFL Combine because the guys that do test well could end up being future Chicago Bears, okay? And the schedule for Combine testing is as follows. So on Thursday, it's going to be defensive linemen and linebackers. Friday, defensive backs and tight ends. Saturday, quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs, a very important day for the Bears. And Sunday, it's going to be the offensive linemen and special teams players. So you guys can see Thursday and especially Saturday are going to be very important days to watch if you are a Bears fan. The coverage of this event is going to be on NFL Network. I believe they're going to be covering basically every single workout, every single test that these prospects do end up doing. And they also will be having media availability as well, the quarterbacks included too. So I believe Caleb Williams speaks to the media on Friday. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what he has to say to the media. They're probably going to be asking him a lot of tough questions about his time in college football, what he thinks about the Bears potentially. I know that for sure is going to be a question by the media, probably our local Chicago media when they are there. And, it's going to be cool to see, what these prospects have to say to the media overall, not just the quarterbacks. And behind the scenes, these NFL front offices also are going to have, exclusive interviews with these players, okay? Interviews that will not be broadcast to the entire world, where they will be able to really get a feel of what type of person they are getting if they do draft this player. And Ryan Poles has talked a lot about the person having to be a good person if they are going to be on the Bears. Okay, it's not only the player, the athlete, it has to be a good person they're getting too, which I think is why they passed on Jalen Carter last year. Even though Jalen Carter was a very fantastic football prospect at a position of need, I don't think they felt the person was a good person, a person that could be molded up into being a great football player, a mature football player, right? So these interviews do matter a lot, especially at the quarterback spot. If the Bears do draft Caleb Williams, they have to be sure he is all there mentally and ready to handle how tough of a city Chicago is to play in at the quarterback spot. Many of our previous quarterbacks have failed, and Caleb Williams has to be prepared for how tough it's going to be. When things aren't going your way, people are going to boo you, the media is going to come after you hard, and you have to be very mentally strong if you are going to be the quarterback in that city. So hopefully Ryan Poles gets the answers he's looking for at the NFL Combine. But leave your comments down below. What event are you guys most excited for this upcoming week? Obviously the Combine is going to be pretty interesting, but I'm also very, maybe not excited, but very, eager to see a trade get done, either of the number 1 pick or of Justin Fields, because I am just so damn sick of talking about this every single day. I just want to see what's going to actually happen, and whoever the quarterback is, I personally will be supporting 100% either way, because I'm a Bears fan first. But whatever Ryan Poles decides, I just hope and pray it is the right decision. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.